Well, good morning, folks. Welcome back. Yesterday, I shared a story about the time Sam took his pet piranha and dumped it in the aquarium at Canina. And it reminded me of a story I've told for years. The story is about a fighter pilot who's sitting in the bar. Could be Cadena. They had a large aquarium behind the bar. So this pilot's sitting there and he's really focused on this aquarium. And this navigator walks up, sits down, looks at him, and looks at the aquarium, looks at the pilot, looks at the aquarium again, and he sees this pair of fish in formation with each other. And this pilot's sitting there watching these fish, just staring intently. And he's taking these fish from one end of the aquarium, bringing them down into the weeds, and then kind of staring at them as they glide smoothly along the weeds. And then he looks up and these two fish go up like that, and he kind of flips them over around like so, brings them back down, comes back down for another pass across the front of the aquarium, takes them out, and this time he does a level turn and brings them back. And then he takes them, and when they get to the center of the aquarium, he looks at them and they start going vertical like this. And when they get into the vertical, he shakes his head real quick like that, and one goes this way and the other goes that way. So now he's really staring back and forth at these two fish, and these two fish are kind of coming over the top like this, and he's bringing them together, and when they come together, they just do a knife edge pass like that, and then he shakes his head, and these fish go on about their little fish play, whatever they're doing. And the navigator looks at him, and he looks at the navigator, and he says, "What?" He says, "How in the world did you do that?" And the pilot says, "Well," he says, "it's just a simple exercise of mind over matter." He says, "You just got to sit, pick a couple fish, and start staring at them, and pretty soon you'll gain control over their tiny little brains." And he says, "You can play with them, have a lot of fun with it." He says, "Think I could do it?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "Tell you what," he says, "have a seat here, just grab a pair or grab one and start playing with them." He says, "I'm going into the dining room." He says, "I'll check on you when I come out." So the navigator sits down, starts to stare at the fish tank. The pilot goes into the bar, or into the dining room. About 30 minutes later, he comes out and he sees that navigator sitting there still staring at the fish tank, very intently, I might say. So he walks over and he says, "Hey," he says, "how's it going?" And the navigator looks at him and goes, "That's all. See ya."